I thought I knew everything about the woman I was about to marry. 3 years together, a house we bought 6 months ago in the Philadelphia suburbs, 200 wedding invitations already sent, and a honeymoon booked to Greece. Amanda was everything I believed I wanted. Smart, beautiful, ambitious. The week before our wedding should have been filled with excitement and last-minute details. Instead, it became the week I discovered that the person sleeping next to me every night saw me as nothing more than a comfortable backup plan. I never imagined that one forgotten phone charger would destroy everything I thought I knew about the woman I was about to marry. Before we go any further, I would love to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever trusted someone completely only to discover they were not who you thought they were, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What I discovered on that phone screen 1 week before saying, I do taught me that sometimes the person you think you know best is actually a complete stranger. Here is what happened. My name is Pat, and I am a civil engineer for a mid-sized firm here in Philadelphia. Nothing fancy, nothing extraordinary. I have a stable career, a decent salary, and about a year ago, I bought a modest 3-bedroom colonial in the suburbs. The kind of house with a small yard, a 2-car garage, and neighbors who wave when you check the mail. It was exactly the kind of life I had always wanted to build. I met Amanda at a mutual friend's barbecue 3 summers ago. She worked as a marketing coordinator for a tech startup downtown. When she walked into that backyard wearing a sundress and carrying homemade potato salad, I genuinely thought I had met someone special. She was gorgeous, confident, and when she laughed at my terrible jokes about load-bearing walls, I was hooked. We started dating that same week. Looking back now, I can see things I chose to ignore. But at the time, everything felt perfect. We moved in together after 18 months. She had expensive taste, always wanting to go to the newest restaurants, always shopping at boutiques I could barely afford. But I figured that was just who she was. I wanted to make her happy, so I worked extra hours and said yes to almost everything she asked for. Last spring, I proposed to her at her favorite Italian restaurant. I had saved for months to buy a ring. Actually, it was my grandmother's ring that I had reset with a larger center stone because Amanda had mentioned she wanted something impressive. When I got down on one knee, she said yes immediately, and I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. The wedding planning started right away. Amanda took complete charge. She picked the venue, a historic estate that cost more than I wanted to spend. She chose a designer dress that required 3 fittings. The floral arrangements alone were going to cost $4,000. Every time I suggested maybe we could scale back, she would look at me with those big eyes and say this was her dream wedding, that we only do this once, that I wanted her to be happy, right? So I paid for everything. Well, almost everything. Her job did not pay as much as mine, but she said she would contribute where she could. That contribution never really materialized, but I did not push it. I loved her. I wanted her to have her dream day. The week before the wedding, I took time off work to handle last-minute details. That is when things started feeling off. Amanda became glued to her phone in a way she had never been before. She would smile at text messages and quickly turn her screen away whenever I came near. At first, I told myself it was probably just bridesmaid group chat drama or last-minute vendor confirmations. Monday night, we were having dinner at the kitchen table, and she suddenly laughed at something on her phone. A real laugh. The kind she used to give me when we first started dating. When I asked what was funny, she barely looked up and said it was just a meme from a coworker. But something about the way she said it felt wrong. Tuesday night, I woke up around 2 in the morning and noticed the blue light from her phone illuminating her face. She was texting someone, smiling in the darkness of our bedroom. When she noticed I was awake, she quickly locked the screen and said it was her maid of honor freaking out about some bridesmaid drama. She kissed my forehead and told me to go back to sleep. I tried to, but my mind kept racing. Wednesday evening, her phone rang while we were watching television. She looked at the screen. Her expression changed for just a second. Then she stood up and said she needed to take this. She walked out onto the back porch and stayed there for 20 minutes. When she came back in, I asked who it was. She said the florist had some last-minute questions about the arrangements. It was 8:30 at night. What florist calls at 8:30 at night? My best man Jake noticed something was off when we met for lunch on Wednesday. He asked if everything was okay if I was having cold feet. I actually defended Amanda. I told him I was just stressed about the wedding, that everything was fine, that I was probably being paranoid. He did not look convinced, but he dropped it. Thursday morning changed everything. I was working from my home office going over some structural plans for a project. Amanda had left for work around 8:30, rushing out the door because she was running late for a meeting. In her hurry, she left her phone on the kitchen counter, still plugged into its charger. I did not think much of it at first. I figured I would just drop it off at her office during my lunch break. She worked about 30 minutes away downtown, and I knew she would probably need it. I unplugged the phone and was about to set it in my bag when the screen lit up with an incoming text message. The notification preview was right there on the lock screen. It was from someone saved as M. The message read, "Cannot wait to see you tonight, babe. This distance is killing me." My stomach dropped. My hands started shaking. I stood there in my kitchen, holding my fiancé's phone, telling myself there had to be a reasonable explanation. Maybe it was a friend. Maybe it was some inside joke. Maybe I was misunderstanding. But I knew. Deep down, I already knew. I did the thing I swore I would never do. I looked through her phone. I know it was wrong. I know it was a violation of privacy. But at that moment, 1 week before I was supposed to marry this woman, I needed to know the truth. The phone unlocked immediately. No passcode. She had removed it a few weeks earlier, said it was easier for wedding planning coordination when vendors needed to reach her. I opened her messages and scrolled to the conversation with M. What I read made me physically sick. I actually had to sit down on the kitchen floor. The messages went back months. M was Marcus, her ex-boyfriend from college. The one she told me she had not spoken to in years. The one she claimed was ancient history. Marcus had written, "So 1 more week, and you are really doing this," Amanda replied. "Yeah, I mean, Pat is stable. Good job, owns a house. He will be a great provider," Marcus wrote back. "But do you love him?" I will never forget her response. I can still see the words on that screen. She wrote, "I love the life he can give me. He is my safe option. You know you are the one I actually want." Marcus asked, "Then why are you marrying him?" Amanda's answer was even worse. "Because you will not commit, and I am 32. A girl has got to think about her future. Pat worships me. He will take care of everything. Plus, we can still see each other." There was more. So much more. Marcus responded, "You are terrible. I love it." Tonight at the usual place, Amanda wrote back, "Cannot wait." I scrolled through the entire conversation. They had been seeing each other for months. There were messages dating back to before I even proposed. I found selfies of them together at restaurants, at his apartment, in his car. The timestamps were from the past 6 months. All those nights she said she was working late or meeting her girlfriends. All those times she stepped outside to take calls. It was him. It was always him. I sat on that kitchen floor for almost 2 hours. I read every single message. I looked at every photo. The woman I thought I knew, the woman I was planning to spend my entire life with, had been lying to me for months. Maybe longer. Maybe the entire relationship was a lie. I took screenshots of everything. Sent them to my own email. I needed proof. Part of me still could not believe what I was seeing, and I knew that when I confronted her, I would need evidence, because she would try to deny it. I could not eat. I could not think straight. I had 3 work meetings scheduled that afternoon, and I called in sick to all of them. I just sat there in my living room watching the clock, waiting for her to come home. Amanda's workday usually ended around 5:30. With traffic, she would be home by 6:15. I spent those hours running through everything in my head. Every moment of our relationship, every time she had been distant, every time she had been on her phone, every expensive dinner I had paid for while she was texting another man, every time I had worked overtime to afford the wedding she wanted while she was planning to keep seeing her ex after we got married. At 6:20, I heard her car pull into the driveway. I was sitting on the couch in the living room. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it might explode. The front door opened, and there she was, bright smile on her face, carrying bags of Thai takeout. She greeted me like nothing was wrong. Like she had not just been texting her ex-boyfriend about their plans to meet up. Like she had not spent months lying to my face. She said, "Pat, I brought your favorite pad Thai. Figured you have been working hard on those project plans." She walked over and kissed my cheek. The casual intimacy of it made me want to throw up. She started chatting about her day. talking about some meeting she had, some project deadline, some coworker drama. She was so good at it, so effortlessly natural. I watched her lie, watched her perform, and I realized I had been watching a performance for 3 years. I interrupted her and asked, "How was your day? Anything interesting happen?" She turned from the kitchen counter where she was unpacking the food and smiled. "Oh, just the usual boring meetings. Finalized some numbers with the caterer, though. We are all set for next Saturday." Next Saturday, our wedding day. The day she was planning to stand in front of 200 people and promise to love and honor me while she had a boyfriend on the side. She picked up her phone from the counter where I had placed it. She checked her messages, and I saw that smile again. That secret smile she had been giving her screen all week. I asked, "Who is Marcus?" Amanda froze. The color actually drained from her face. She turned slowly and said, "What?" I stood up from the couch and repeated, "Marcus. Your ex-boyfriend. The one you have been texting for months. The one you have been seeing behind my back." Her first instinct was to deflect. She asked, "Were you going through my phone?" I walked toward her and said, "You left it here this morning. I saw the messages. All of them." She put the phone down and immediately went defensive. "Pat, it is not what you think. We are just friends. We have been catching up. It is innocent." I pulled out my own phone. I had prepared for this. I started reading the messages out loud. The ones where she called me her safe option. The ones where she said she did not love me, but loved the life I could provide. The ones where she and Marcus made plans to keep seeing each other after the wedding. With each message I read, I watched her face change. She knew she was caught. There was no way to spin this. No way to explain it away. For about 10 seconds, she was completely silent. Then something shifted in her expression. The panic disappeared. What replaced it was something cold. Something almost annoyed. She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes at me. Then she said the words that I will remember for the rest of my life. "Oh, please. A girl has got to think about her future. You should be grateful. I am even choosing you." I could not believe what I was hearing. I said, "Grateful? You have been using me." She crossed her arms and replied, "Using is such an ugly word. I am being practical. You have a good job, you are responsible, you will be a good father someday. Marcus is fun, but he is broke and unreliable. Do you know how hard it is for women my age? I need security. You get a beautiful wife, I get stability. It is a fair trade. A fair trade." She actually called our relationship a fair trade, like we were negotiating a business deal. I felt anger rising in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. I said, "A fair trade. You told him you do not love me. That I am just your backup plan, your safety net." She shrugged, literally shrugged. "I care about you. Is that not enough? Love is overrated anyway. We are compatible. The wedding is in 7 days, Pat. Everything is paid for. 200 guests are expecting to celebrate. Do not be dramatic about this." Dramatic. She was calling me dramatic for being upset that my fiancé had been cheating on me and planning to continue cheating after we got married. I looked at her and said, "The wedding is off." Amanda laughed. She actually laughed at me. "No, it is not. Do not be ridiculous." She walked closer and tried to touch my arm. "You are just having cold feet." Every groom panics a little bit before the wedding. We will get past this. In a few months you will not even remember this happened. I stepped back from her touch and said, "I am not marrying someone who does not love me, who has been cheating on me, who sees me as nothing more than a paycheck and a house." Her expression changed again. The fake sweetness disappeared, replaced by anger. She snapped, "Cheating? We have not even slept together. It is just texting and a few dinners. You are blowing this completely out of proportion." I could not believe her logic. So I said, "That is still cheating. Emotional affairs are real. And you were planning to continue seeing him after we got married. You said so in the messages." She threw her hands up and said, "So what? Lots of couples have arrangements. Lots of marriages work like this. You would never have known if you had not snooped through my private conversations." I stared at her and realized I had never really known this person at all. The woman standing in front of me was a stranger. She continued, "I picked you, Pat. Out of everyone I could have chosen, I said yes to you. I am willing to spend my life with you, share your home, have your children eventually. What more do you want?" I answered her honestly. I want someone who actually loves me, who chose me because they want me, not because I am stable and reliable and safe. That is when she really turned cruel. She said, "Well, good luck finding that. You are 34 years old. You are not exactly a catch. You are boring, predictable. You spend Friday nights doing spreadsheets for fun. I was settling for you just as much as you thought you were winning by getting me." She took a step closer and added, "Look at yourself. Average job, average looks, average life. I brought excitement to your boring existence. I made you feel like you were special. You should be thanking me for even giving you a chance." Her words should have crushed me. A week ago they probably would have. But something clicked in that moment. Something shifted inside me. I had spent 3 years being grateful that she chose me. 3 years feeling like I had to prove I was good enough. 3 years ignoring little red flags because I thought she was out of my league. I remembered how she always needed the most expensive restaurants. How she criticized my hobbies, called them boring. How she made plans without ever asking my opinion. How she flirted with other men at parties and called me jealous when I mentioned it. How her friends seemed superficial, only talking about brands and designer labels. How she constantly wanted things I could not afford, but expected me to find a way to pay for them anyway. I looked at her and said, "You are right about one thing. I am average. I have an average job and an average life. I was so average that I convinced myself someone like you was doing me a favor by being with me, that I should be grateful you chose me. But you know what I just realized?" She crossed her arms and sneered. "What I said. Being average with someone who actually loves me is 1,000 times better than being a wallet for someone who does not." Her face twisted with anger. She said, "Fine. Call off the wedding then. Lose all the deposits. Humiliate yourself in front of everyone. Explain to your mother and your friends and your family why you ruined everything 1 week before the ceremony. See if I care. I will just marry Marcus eventually anyway." That was my opening. I smiled for the first time in hours and said, "No, you will not. Marcus does not want to marry you. That is exactly why you are marrying me, remember? Because he will not commit. That is what you told him in the messages." I had hit a nerve. Rage flashed across her face like lightning. Her voice went cold and sharp. She said, "If you call this wedding off, I am keeping the engagement ring. And I want half the value of this house. I have lived here for 6 months. I have rights." I actually smiled wider. The ring was my grandmother's heirloom. I had it reset, but the original piece was a family treasure that had been passed down for 3 generations. And this house was purchased solely in my name 6 months before she moved in. She had never contributed a single dollar to the mortgage, the down payment, or any of the bills. I said, "The ring was my grandmother's. It is a family heirloom. And this house is 100% in my name. You never contributed to the mortgage or any house expenses. Check with a lawyer if you want. You will get nothing." Her face went red. She started yelling, calling me names, threatening to ruin my reputation, telling everyone I was controlling and abusive. She said she would make sure no one ever believed my side of the story. I let her scream. Then I calmly told her to pack her essentials and leave. She could come back another day with a friend to get the rest of her things, but I wanted her out of my house that night. She tried crying then. Tried saying she would break up with Marcus, that she made a mistake, that she did love me, that she was just scared of commitment. The tears looked real, but I had seen her perform for 3 years. I knew the difference now between genuine emotion and manipulation. I did not waver. I told her the tears were not going to work this time. I had seen through everything. She left around 9 that night, still screaming threats about how she would destroy me, how I would regret this, how everyone would know what a terrible person I was. The minute the door closed behind her, I called my best man, Jake. I told him everything. He showed up 30 minutes later with a 6-pack of beer and let me talk for 3 hours straight. Then he helped me figure out what I needed to do next. Friday morning, I woke up with a strange sense of clarity. For the first time in a week, I knew exactly what I needed to do. My first call was to the wedding venue. I explained the situation professionally, keeping it brief. Wedding is off, bride and groom separated, apologize for the late notice. They were understanding, though I lost the $5,000 deposit. But they stopped any further charges, which saved me from the remaining balance. Next was the caterer. Because I was calling outside the 72-hour window, I only lost about $2,000. They were able to rebook the date for another event. Then the florist. Then the photographer. Then the band. One by one, I called every vendor. Some were sympathetic, some were annoyed, but all of them confirmed the cancellations. By noon, I had lost about $8,000 in deposits. But I had saved the remaining $15,000 that would have been paid the day of the wedding. More importantly, I had saved myself from a lifetime of being someone's backup plan. Jake helped me draft an announcement. We kept it simple and dignified. I sent a group text first to the wedding party and close family members. The message said Amanda and I have decided to call off the wedding. We discovered we want different things in life. I apologize for any inconvenience this causes. Any gifts that have been sent will be returned. Thank you for understanding. Then I posted a similar message on social media before Amanda could control the narrative. The responses were immediate. My mom called within 5 minutes. I told her a simplified version of what happened. She was quiet for a moment, then said she was proud of me for standing up for myself. My dad called next with the same message. My younger sister texted me and said, "Honestly, I never liked her anyway. She was always rude to servers at restaurants. That is a huge red flag." Amanda had her own response. Within an hour, she posted on social media, painting herself as a victim. Her post said, "Sometimes you do not truly know someone until you live with them. I am heartbroken, but choosing my safety and happiness over a toxic situation. Thank you to everyone who has supported me through this difficult time." Her friends immediately commented with messages of support, calling me controlling, jealous, and worse. People who had never even met me were suddenly experts on my character. I made the decision not to engage publicly. I did not defend myself, did not argue, did not post the screenshots. When close friends reached out privately asking what really happened, I sent them the evidence. Just the facts, no commentary. Word spread fast. Within 2 days, people started questioning Amanda's version of events. 3 of her own friends who saw the screenshots reached out to apologize. One of them, her maid of honor, actually came to my house. She told me she had suspected something was going on, but Amanda always denied it. Then she told me something that made everything make even more sense. She said Amanda had done this before. 4 years ago, she got engaged to another man, someone with a good job and financial stability. She called off that wedding 3 weeks before the ceremony when she met someone she thought was richer. The pattern was clear. Saturday arrived. What should have been my wedding day? I woke up around 8 in the morning and felt strangely peaceful. No regrets, no second thoughts. Just relief that I had discovered the truth before it was too late. Around noon, my doorbell rang. I was not expecting anyone. When I opened the door, Marcus was standing there. He looked uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. He said, "Look, man, I need to talk to you." I almost closed the door in his face, but curiosity won. I let him inside. Marcus sat down on my couch and said Amanda has been blowing up my phone since Thursday night. She showed up at my apartment last night with suitcases saying she was moving in, saying we could finally be together. I asked, "And what did you tell her?" He ran his hand through his hair and said, "I told her no. I told her to leave. I do not want a relationship with her. What we had was just casual, just fun. I never promised her anything serious." He looked genuinely uncomfortable. He said, "I know what I did was wrong. I knew she was engaged to you. That makes me a terrible person. But I need you to know that she told me you guys had some kind of understanding. That you knew she needed freedom. I never thought she was planning to actually marry you and keep seeing me." Then he said something that surprised me. She is completely unhinged now. She showed up screaming at me, saying I ruined her life, that I promised we would be together. I never said that. I was clear from the start that I was not looking for anything serious. I think she built up this whole fantasy in her head. Marcus told me he came to my house for 2 reasons. First, to tell me the truth. Second, to warn me that Amanda was talking about making both of us pay for ruining her plans. I realized something in that moment. Marcus was not my enemy. He was just another person Amanda had manipulated. We were both tools in whatever game she was playing. We talked for about an hour. Compared stories. Realized she had lied to both of us about different things. When Marcus left, he shook my hand and said, "You dodged a bullet, man. Good luck with everything." The following week, Amanda tried everything. She texted me 57 times from different numbers. The messages went through stages. First begging, "I made a mistake. I do love you. Please give me another chance." Then anger, "You ruined my life. I hope you are happy." Then threats, "I will sue you." I will tell everyone what you did. Then bargaining. Can we at least talk? Can we try therapy? I blocked every number. I saved all the messages as evidence, then blocked her on every platform. I met with a lawyer just to cover myself legally. He confirmed what I already knew. She had no claim to my house or property. The ring, being a family heirloom, was legally mine to keep. I had nothing to worry about. 2 weeks after the canceled wedding, Amanda showed up at my workplace. I had already informed security and my supervisor about the situation. When she tried to enter the building, security stopped her. She started screaming in the lobby. They escorted her out while she shouted that I would regret this, that no one would ever love me like she pretended to. Her own words gave her away, like she pretended to. I filed for a temporary restraining order that afternoon. It was granted within 3 days. I started therapy the following month. I needed help processing the betrayal and rebuilding my sense of self-worth. My therapist helped me see patterns I had missed, how I had undervalued myself for years, how I had been so grateful for Amanda's attention that I ignored every warning sign. My friends rallied around me in ways I did not expect. Jake organized a guy's trip for the weekend that would have been my honeymoon. We went camping in the Poconos instead of Greece, and honestly, it was exactly what I needed. I threw myself into work. 3 months later, I got promoted to senior engineer with a significant raise. I started redecorating the house, making it truly mine. I joined a hiking club and started woodworking, hobbies Amanda used to call boring and pointless. 6 months after everything fell apart, I ran into one of Amanda's old coworkers at a coffee shop. She told me Amanda had moved to Boston. Apparently, she burned bridges with Marcus and several other men in our social circle. People knew the truth about what she had done, and her reputation was destroyed. I felt nothing when I heard that. No satisfaction, no vindication, just emptiness where she used to be. It has been over a year now since I called off that wedding. My life looks completely different than I imagined it would. But it is better, so much better. The healing process was not linear. Some days were harder than others. I had moments where I questioned whether I made the right choice, whether I should have tried to work it out, whether I was being too harsh. But every time those thoughts came up, I remembered her words, her casual cruelty, the way she rolled her eyes when I confronted her, the way she saw me as nothing more than a provider, a safe option, a backup plan. Therapy taught me that someone making you feel grateful just for their presence is a massive red flag. The right person does not make you feel lucky they chose you. The right person makes you feel valued, appreciated, and chosen every single day. Amanda thought she was settling for me. The truth is, I was settling for someone who saw me as an option instead of a priority. I was accepting scraps of affection from someone who was saving her real feelings for someone else. The word stable used to feel like an insult after everything that happened. She said it with such disdain, like being stable was something to be ashamed of. But I have learned that stability means being reliable. Being stable means people can count on you. It means you keep your promises. It means you show up. Those are not flaws. Those are strengths. Being called safe felt even worse at first. But being safe means being trustworthy. It means being a person who does not play games with people's hearts. It means being someone who treats others with respect and honesty. Again, not a flaw, a strength. I spent 3 years trying to be exciting enough, interesting enough, good enough for someone who was never going to appreciate me. I worked overtime to pay for expensive dinners. I said yes to things I could not afford. I ignored my own interests because she found them boring. I tried to become someone I was not because I thought that was what love required. Now I understand that real love does not ask you to shrink yourself. Real love does not keep scorecards. Real love does not have backup plans. It took time to trust again. I'm not going to pretend it was easy. For months I questioned every interaction, every conversation, every text message. I looked for hidden meanings and secret agendas that were not there. But slowly, I started to heal. I reconnected with old friends I had neglected during my relationship with Amanda. I rediscovered hobbies I had given up. I learned to enjoy my own company again. About 8 months ago, I met someone new. Her name is Caroline, and she is a teacher at the local elementary school. We met at a bookstore, both reaching for the same mystery novel. It was awkward and sweet, and nothing like the dramatic sweep of meeting Amanda. What struck me most about Caroline was how easy everything felt. She did not make me feel like I had to prove myself. She did not criticize my hobbies or roll her eyes at my spreadsheets. When I told her about my woodworking projects, she asked if she could see them. When I mentioned I liked hiking, she suggested trails we could explore together. On our fourth date, I told her what happened with Amanda. I was nervous, worried she would see me as damaged or bitter. But Caroline just listened, then said something I will never forget. She said, "That must have been incredibly painful. But it sounds like you learned who you are and what you deserve. That is not a bad thing. We have been together for 6 months now, and it is different in every possible way. There is no game playing, no manipulation, no wondering where I stand. We talk openly about our feelings. We support each other's goals. We build each other up instead of tearing each other down. I am not saying Caroline is perfect or that our relationship is perfect, but it is real. It is honest. And when she looks at me, I know she sees me as her first choice, not her safe option. My house feels like a home now. I repainted the walls, replaced furniture, created a workshop in the garage for my woodworking projects. Every trace of Amanda is gone, replaced with things that actually reflect who I am. My career is thriving. That promotion led to more opportunities. I am working on projects I actually care about, and my confidence at work has grown tremendously. Most importantly, I have learned to value myself. I know now that being average is not an insult. I am not average because I am boring or lacking. I am steady, reliable, and genuine. Those qualities matter. They are worth celebrating. If I could go back and talk to myself 1 week before that canceled wedding, I would tell myself that finding that text message was the best thing that could have happened. It saved me from years of being undervalued. It saved me from a marriage built on lies. It saved me from wasting my life on someone who would never truly see me. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you turns out to be the best thing. That text message, that forgotten phone charger, that moment of discovery, it all led me here. To a life where I am valued, respected, and genuinely loved. I learned that if someone ever makes you feel like you should be grateful they chose you, you should walk away. You deserve someone who feels grateful that you chose them back. You deserve someone who sees you as their first choice, their only choice, not their backup plan. Life is too short to be someone's safe option. Life is too precious to spend it with someone who is counting on you for stability while giving their heart to someone else. You deserve better than that. We all do. That discovery 1 week before my wedding hurt more than anything I had ever experienced. But it also set me free. Free to find real love. Free to build a life with someone who actually wants to build it with me. Free to be myself without apology. And that freedom, that peace, that genuine happiness is worth more than any wedding could ever be. So, let me ask you this. Have you ever discovered something that completely changed your perspective on a relationship? Have you ever had to walk away from someone you thought you would spend forever with? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if you have ever felt like someone's second choice, hit that like button. Subscribe to hear more stories about real life, real heartbreak, and real healing. Share this with someone who needs to hear that they deserve to be someone's first choice, not their backup plan. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that your worth is not determined by how others value you. Your worth is inherent, unchangeable, and absolute. Do not settle for being anyone's safe option. Hold out for someone who sees you as their greatest choice. Take care of yourselves out there. You deserve real love. Never forget that.